The clinking of glasses and the low hum of chatter filled the dining room, but all I could hear was her voice, sharp, certain, and final. "My ex will always be part of my life," Emily said, setting her wine glass down with a soft thud. "If you don't like it, Daniel, you can leave." The words didn't hit me all at once. They sank in slowly like poison, spreading from my chest to every corner of me, freezing my breath somewhere between disbelief and heartbreak. Around us, her family fell silent. Her mother's hand hovered midair with a fork, her father looked away, and her brother coughed awkwardly into his napkin. I tried to steady myself, to hide the tremor in my hand as I reached for my water. It was supposed to be a simple family dinner. Roast chicken, laughter, stories about her nephew's school play. Not this. Not the public declaration that made me feel like a stranger in a house where I used to feel at home. 3 months earlier, when I first met Emily's ex, Mark, it was civil. Awkward but civil. He dropped by to pick up a box of old things. Photos, trinkets, a sweater she'd forgotten she even had. I shook his hand, trying to hide my unease. He smiled too easily, spoke too comfortably, as if he still belonged in her life. After he left, I asked Emily, "Do you really need to stay in touch with him?" She sighed. "Daniel, we were together for 7 years. He's not just an ex. He's someone who knew me before everything. We ended on good terms." Good terms. I tried to respect that. Tried to believe that love could turn into friendship, that my insecurity was just a ghost from past heartbreaks. But sometimes at night I'd hear her phone buzz. She'd tilt the screen away, smile faintly and say, "It's just Mark. He's asking about the cat we used to have." And I'd tell myself not to ask more. The subtle cracks. The first real fracture came one Saturday morning. I woke up alone. Her side of the bed was cold. The smell of coffee drifted from the kitchen, but her car was gone. When she came back hours later, she looked different, lighter. Her eyes shone the way they hadn't in weeks. "Where'd you go?" I asked. "Oh," she said casually, hanging her purse. "Mark had a rough week. I just went to check on him. He's been depressed." I stared at her. "You drove across town to check on your ex?" Her expression hardened. "He needed a friend. I thought you'd understand." I wanted to scream. Instead, I swallowed it down, nodding like a fool trying to be the understanding husband. But that night, as she slept beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how much of her heart still lived in the past. The dinner. By the time the family dinner came around, things between us were already strained. I'd asked for distance from Mark. She'd called it controlling. I'd asked for boundaries. She'd called it insecurity. That night, her family gathered at her parents' home. The table was long, crowded with dishes, laughter echoing off the walls. For a while it almost felt normal. Until her brother brought him up. "So, he said, grinning, "Mark's still coaching the youth team?" "He was great with those kids." Emily smiled, her eyes lighting up. "Yeah, he's amazing. I actually helped him plan the last fundraiser." The room quieted slightly. Her mother gave her a look, subtle but pointed. I forced a polite laugh. "You helped him." She turned to me, frowning slightly, as if my tone offended her. "Yes, Daniel. It's just volunteering." Then, almost challengingly, she added, "Mark and I will always be connected. We shared too much history to pretend he doesn't exist." Her father shifted uncomfortably. "Emily." But she wasn't done. She looked directly at me, her voice rising just enough to command the room. "My ex will always be part of my life. If you don't like it, you can leave." The silence that followed was suffocating. Even the candles seemed to flicker nervously. I stared at her, trying to find the woman I fell in love with, the one who used to trace hearts on my palm and whisper that I made her feel safe. But all I saw was a stranger defending another man's place in her life more fiercely than she'd ever defended mine. The aftermath. We didn't speak on the drive home. The city lights streaked past in silence, reflections of red and gold flashing across her face. When we got inside, she went straight to the bedroom. I followed, my chest tightening. Why would you say that? I asked quietly. She didn't turn around. Because I'm tired of explaining myself. Tired of pretending like being friends with Mark is something shameful. Emily, I said, my voice breaking. It's not shameful. It's not normal either. He's not just a friend to you. Her jaw clenched. You're jealous. You've always been jealous. I took a step closer. Because I see it. The way you light up when he calls. The way you defend him. I feel like there's 3 people in this marriage, and I'm the outsider. That got to her. Her shoulders stiffened. You're being dramatic, she muttered. We're just friends. I swallowed hard. Then why does it feel like you're choosing him over me? She turned then, eyes glistening, not with guilt but with anger. Because he was there for me when I lost myself. You think love is about ownership, Daniel. It's not. And what is it about? I asked softly. She didn't answer. But in her silence I found mine. The truth. 2 weeks later my answer came. I was at her office, dropping off her laptop she'd forgotten. She wasn't at her desk, but her phone buzzed beside her planner. A message flashed on the screen. Mark. Last night was everything I missed. Wish we didn't have to hide it. I felt the world tilt. My fingers went numb. I didn't open the message. I didn't need to. When she came back, smiling like nothing had changed, I handed her the laptop. She noticed my pale face. You okay? Yeah, I said softly. Just tired. That night, I packed my things while she was in the shower. I didn't leave a note. I didn't shout, accuse, or demand answers. I'd spent months chasing explanations from someone who'd already made her choice. The next morning I got a message. Emily. Why didn't you say anything? We could have fixed this. I typed 100 replies, but only sent one. You already did. 6 months later. I ran into her mother at a cafe. She looked older, wearier. She's not doing well, she said quietly. Mark left her again. I think she finally realized what she lost. I nodded, staring at the steam rising from my cup. It wasn't satisfaction I felt. Just a kind of sad peace. Because love, I learned, doesn't always die in fire. Sometimes it fades in silence, drowned by the weight of someone else's ghosts. Epilogue. Sometimes late at night I still remember that dinner. The laughter, the flicker of candlelight, the sharp edge of her voice cutting through it all. My ex will always be part of my life. If you don't like it, you can leave. I did. And in leaving, I found something she never did. Freedom from the past. Because no love survives when half of it is still looking backward.